Provisional payout. The sole scribble-worthy assignment of this partially financed workout came courtesy of the ubiquitous Roomeisters, who were fulfilling the urgent needs of a co-op customer, evidently under house arrest less than a crow's short-haul flight from the supermarket's medium-sized branch in Upper Shoreham Road. Pulled up outside the store within minutes of accepting my employer's request, having been informed by app that their client's consignment was awaiting collection. However, upon approaching the till, I spied 2 brown paper bags upon the counter, inscribed with the name and alphanumeric reference belonging to a rival grocery delivery service, for whom I was also qualified to facilitate orders, but on this occasion did not have sufficient capacity in my mobile pantry. The lone cashier was engaged with a customer who was attempting to redeem 2 midweek lottery tickets in exchange for an existing quota of reward points, a complex transaction that took at least 5 minutes before he was able to turn his attention to bagging up my expectant buyer's pre-picked items. Was alerted that the shipment contained alcoholic beverages, though its digital waybill suggested otherwise, unless Red Bull really does give you wings, or a pack of strawberry-flavoured protein shakes had fermented before I'd confirmed that collection was complete. Tracked down my destination with the accurate aid of Google Maps in 3D mode, which led me to a secluded apartment complex located on the west side of Southwick Green. This large development consisted of several blocks assembled from plain brick with painted white panelling, each featuring a communal entrance, above which were numbers of the flats it incorporated. Was buzzed admittance after one prod of the appropriate bell, and immediately handed my undamaged shipment of consumables to an authoritative figure, arrayed in regulatory uniform and a mic'd headset, who I guessed was either a cosplaying Call of Duty fanatic or police officer on their late lunch break. Perhaps both. Dawn tread. "Sorry to say," began one hawkish herring gull, from his lofty lookout point upon a steeply pitched roof opposite Beach Green, just as I gave way to a tightly leashed bull terrier and its grateful owner, who were making use of the flourishing Commons zebra crossing. "But botanically brewed motivation is still fresh out in both 6-packs and single pints at Shoreham's swankiest mini-mart, and don't bank on any emergency supplies as having been misallocated to either the petrol pumps or rapid charging points at the referenced retailer's parent fueling station, since the only forms of sustainable energy that any vehicles I've ever dive-bombed ran on were remotely mass-harvested electricity, draft diesel, and lead-free gasoline." "Much obliged," I hollered in response from my hunched perspective, before doubling back around Shell Springs Rotary, resigned to another day in the doldrums. "However," my feathered observer perked up above the humdrum drone of Saturday's earliest rising socialites, "I did spy several collapsed cases of single estate Sauvignon Blanc stacked against their overfilled recycling bins, the contents of which I'm sure they're shifting at half price. If you're quick, you might be in time to grab the last bottle, and think of how much more gratified your familial elders' refined senses will be once they savour the delicate floral bouquet and subtle citrusy aftertaste." "Why don't you stick to swigging that budget bitter?" I muttered, within clear earshot of this aspiring vineyard vulture, "and leave any special stuff to real connoisseurs, like crows and magpies." By some miracle, perhaps related to a thermally conscious choice in padded body armour, this classist slight did not provoke my winged onlooker into launching a Hitchcockian attack, and within 90 evenly tempered minutes of subsequent moving time, I'd returned home, one beverage better off. Pensive pace. Humanity's most grounded form of active recovery, the quickest route to a healthy mind and happy heart following episodes of restless soul-searching, or an effective way to replace stale thoughts with fresh ideas, between desk-bound chores that you'd rather place on permanent pause. Regardless, as these steadily lengthening seasons progress, I find I garner almost as much tangible benefit from purposeful plods as choppy pedal strokes, perhaps because our temperate climate's cold snaps don't have the chance to precipitate quite as much brain frost when endured at speeds of the average balance biker. And one is given more time to soak up all the sights and sounds that are otherwise suppressed by performance targets and survival instincts, or whisk by faster than tonight's glowing gibbous moon, which for reference travels at a shade below 2,300 miles per hour. Evening tide. Beware those spectral veils of drizzle draped across the darkening horizon beyond Shoreham's farthest-reaching shingle fields, warbled woolly wood-pigeon in a cautious tone. The ones that cast their precipitous shadow over weather-worn sailing vessels mask the luminous visage of Earth's solar sage on this fresh spring twilight, and only 2 short hours ago might have rained off your solitary parade within the first few steadily paced waddles. "A picture is worth 1,000 prose," I whispered back, over waves wandering the foreshore and the whirring murmur of a distant jet, just after preserving this dramatic dusk scene in 48 untouched megapixels. But thank you all the same for painting such a vivid, literary vignette.